Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy Roliver Queen. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are doing good. If this is your first time on the channel and you enjoy the content, please hit that like, please hit that subscribe button. But let's not waste any more time and let's jump right in. So, comic book piracy is a topic that pops up on Twitter at least either once a week or once every couple weeks or once every couple months. And in my opinion, it's a conversation that goes nowhere. You have this writer here, Erica Schultz. I don't know her work, to be honest. I guess she does the Deadly Bouquet at Image Comics, and she does, sorry about that, she does the Bylines and Blood at Aftershock Comics. So it seems here she has a pretty sizable following. Now, she went on this tangent, and she's making the same old regurgitated points, but I don't mean regurgitated in a bad way. I'm just saying we've seen these same talking points and these same types of threads over and over again, right? And again, she's making a lot of good points. Like you only hurt the books and the creatives when you pirate, right? Again, totally for it. I support it. Cool. But here's what I really want to jump into, right? So we're gonna jump into the quote tweets real quick, right? And the quote tweets are really what the basis of this video is, right? Because when you do have these conversations about comic book piracy, you're going to get a couple different groups of people. Now, you have the folk here who, for whatever reason, they don't believe in supporting the big two. They don't believe that the customers should be the ones supporting the books. They believe that if a creator is speaking out against piracy, well, that's Marvel and DC's fault because they're not paying them enough or they're not paying them at all. And you also have the folk here who say shit like, "Hey, you're privileged or you're classist, or I just don't support trash comic books or whatever have you." Then you also have the folk who say, "Hey, I live in a country where I can't support comic books. Comic books are expensive. Shipping costs are this, shipping costs are that, right?" And you know, and it's these folk who they pretty much take over the conversation. It's like they always have these excuses here, right? And what I'm trying to get across is just like, alongside this being a regurgitated topic, creators should also realize that Twitter, of all places, is not the place where you bring these gripes to, because the demographic on Twitter, especially a lot of the comic book community on Twitter, is people like this. Now, that's not to say some of these folk don't support comic book. There's a lot of great comic book folk on Twitter that I follow, and we love just supporting the books. We post up pictures all the time, but when you're really talking about the core demographic of comic book Twitter, it's these folk. It's folk who are hiding, behind, a comic book AV. Their stand accounts, their Let's Talk comic book accounts. They got a lot of them have a shit ton of followers, but this is them. This is the demographic. So when you do have a creative, that's really saying, "Hey guys, we would really want you to support these books," 9 out of 10 times, you're always gonna get responses like these. And I also want to say this too. It's just like, hey, there's a good chance that the people that support your books, they're not on Twitter. The paying customer is not on Twitter. They're not there. They're not there. It's a lot of people on Twitter are people who just go to read comic book, and they have their whatever reasons. One of the reasons that I mentioned, and they're always quick to fight back against any sort of talk about comic book piracy. They feel entitled. Now, I do have some commentary about some of these groups of people. Now, let's talk about the folk who are supposedly international. Not to discredit folk who live internationally. I understand. Shipping cost is a thing. Currency and all that, bro. I get it. But when I see that talking point brought up as a rebuttal for comic book piracy, I don't know if I could believe it all the time. I don't know if I could believe it all the time. And what I think is happening in regards to that specific group is, I do believe there's some folk, they are hindered by shipping cost, economy or whatever. But I also do believe too that there's people, they see folk using that rebuttal, and they're well capable of supporting comic books, but because it's so easy to do the Twitter thing and kind of bandwagon, they use that as their own reasoning to not support comic books. Hopefully that makes sense. Not for the people who just say fuck Marvel, fuck DC, whatever. That's them. If they don't want to support, they don't want to support. Cool. And then the folk who feel like Marvel and DC should be paying these creators more. I do believe Marvel and DC could be paying these creators more. But at the same time, if they're crunching in numbers and they're seeing that people are not paying for the fucking books, there's no reason for the book to stay around, right? There's no reason for the book to stay around. So you can at least do your part. Yes, Marvel and DC can pay, but also you got to do your part as a customer as well to support the books, especially if you're able to. Especially if you're able to. If you're able to. I said this also on Twitter as well, but if you have an issue with how your book is selling, hey, you know what? Maybe it could be marketing. Maybe it could be marketing. Maybe, well, I don't know, whatever they're doing over at Image or at Aftershock or whatever they have you. Maybe they could promote your book better. A lot of comic books out there, but also too, like maybe your book ain't that great. There's a lot of books in the top 200. I do this. I do the streams every month. No, there's a lot of books that are lower on the list that I feel should be higher. But there's also books that, hey, you know what, that you deserve the ranking that you get. I'm saying it could be either or. But I'm gonna close by saying this, man. The folk that you're trying to reach by constantly throwing this topic out there, bro, it's just like arguing with the brick wall, man. Them folk ain't gonna show up for your books. 195 retweets, 222 quote tweets, and a lot of them is just this, is this. So all I can say is, bro, just haul ass in that writing room. Make sure you're putting out some heat. Make sure you put your heart into the work. And the people that show up for the book are the people that show up. But you can't convince these people. It's pointless. So let me know, man. I always ask this question: am I tripping? Am I wrong? Am I wrong for saying shit like this? You let me know down below in the comments. But people gonna show up for what they want to show up for, and that's another point I want to make here too. It's just like, hey, you can't force people to support books. If people support your shit, they support it. If they don't, they don't. And again, as I'm showing you here, everybody got their own fucking reasons for why they do or don't want to support these books. But coming on Twitter is just pointless. It's pointless. These people are the core demographic on Twitter. So that's why I always say creatives should stop looking to Twitter, for validation or whatever. Stop writing books for these folk. You really want to stick it to Twitter? You really want to stick it to these folk who are pirating your books, but also have something to say about the quality of the books? Then stop creating content for them. Stop writing books for them. Stop writing books for them, and we'll see how the energy will change. So that's just my 2 cents, man. That's just my 2 cents. If, like I said, if I'm not tripping, let me know down below in the comments. But again, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Much love, much peace. It's your boy Roliver Queen, and I'm out.